So this is going to be another movie review. This one's called The Lives of Others, 2006. This movie kicks ass. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. I like the bleak colors in this movie. It reminded me a lot of Cargo 200. It's about the East German Stasi secret police, but right before the fall of the Berlin Wall in East Germany. Okay, so you know it's going to be bleak and depressing for a while, but it sort of has a unexpected ending, which is pretty cool. Yeah, got all kinds of awards, great reviews, especially from East German writers. It's got the dude from The Castle who plays the protagonist in The Castle. He looks much older, much less hair in this one. But he's really, really good as the sort of the director said he was like Saul who turned into St. Paul. Unlikely hero in this movie. I don't know. I kind of had mixed feelings about where the director was coming from. He started out with this glass-nosed, hadn't reached East Germany by 1984. Okay. So he's talking about Glasnost that didn't come about until 1985. And so there's a gap in this movie from 1985 until 1989. And that's the Glasnost period that he's talking about. I was always under the impression that the Cold War was a farce because there was an arms buildup in the 80s, but at the same time in the 70s we were giving money to Brezhnev, taxpayer dollars, U.S. taxpayer dollars. So that was almost like self-contradictory right there. So I don't know what all this Cold War stuff is about, but never been able to figure that out. I think it was a lot of talk and no action, and waste of a lot of taxpayer dollars, if you ask me. Just an excuse to spend money on the military. So, anyways, that's my little political spiel. I also received a similar article from my dream girl in Seattle years ago, probably 5 years ago, I'm guessing. She sent me this article that said there was no revolution in Russia when communism supposedly fell because the communist bosses just changed positions. I mean, Boris Yeltsin was a communist official, so was Vladimir Putin. So they may no longer call themselves communists, but they're definitely former communists at the very least. So it's just like they're playing musical chairs, basically. I think the real revolution happened in Czechoslovakia. Because he had Vaclav Havel, who was more of a free market guy, at least somewhat free market. And then he had Vaclav Klaus. He was kind of even more radical than Havel, but I guess he got busted for corruption or something happened. I don't know much about it, but it's kind of interesting to see how Eastern Europe survived after the collapse of communism, the fall of the Iron Curtain, all of that stuff, the Berlin Wall in 1989. So that's kind of the backdrop that I was kind of using against this to judge this movie. So it's about this hardcore interrogator. He enjoys interrogating people for 40 hours until they finally break down and tell the truth due to lack of sleep. And he teaches a brutality class so that the young guys can become Stasi agents. They must. That's probably the only job in Eastern Germany in 1984. Although they do make him steam stamps after he gets in trouble later. But I'll get into that. Like I said, he starts out as the antagonist, but he becomes the protagonist gradually, which is kind of interesting. He was the protagonist in The Castle, which is a movie that I absolutely hate. I thought it was boring as hell. But this movie is well done. He does a great job playing the cold-hearted Stasi agent, secret police. Gradually becomes somewhat of a hero in this movie. He's like an anti-hero, I guess you'd say. So he gets invited to this play where they say the director is the only non-subversive playwright in Eastern Germany. Okay. But the Stasi agent doesn't like his boss. He's kind of jealous that his boss is a couple ranks higher than him, even though the talent levels are clearly out of skew. So he tells his boss, well, I think this guy is subversive. Let's check him out. And sure enough, his boss goes to the minister, the guy who runs the government, the corrupt, inept police state in Eastern Germany. And it just so happens that the fat East German communist boss also is having an affair with the actress in the play, who also happens to be the director's girlfriend, who's living with him. So of course the communist boss is going to say, yeah, let's bug his apartment, bust his ass, so that I can have her all to my own, that kind of thing. This is kind of a corrupt love triangle that this 18-year-old Chinese girl was trying to pull on me. And it's just, and he says the fat communist boss says a line at the end that kind of threw me off. I didn't agree with it. Just like the glasnost thing at the beginning was kind of odd how they talked about that, even though it didn't apply to 1984. So I'm not sure how it could have reached Eastern Germany if it wasn't even implemented in the former Soviet Union until 1985. So there's a little bit of confusion going on there. There's some more confusion towards the end after the fall of the Berlin Wall, but I'll get to that later. Still, I love this flick. It was just mind-boggling, all the different plot twists and cool little exposition of government corruption in this movie. The director said it was more than real. It was just incredible. Great flick. Well-deserved acclamation for this movie. So okay, so the guy gets his house bugged, and of course, Mr. Stotzi, um, secret policeman, is responsible for listening in on their lurid conversations and stuff, um, even to the point of like hearing them have sex in the bedroom, which is really nasty invasion of privacy, affecting millions of people in Eastern Germany. Okay, and the funny part is that the Stasi policeman guy was East German citizen, which is amazing. I don't know how they made the castle in Austria with this guy, but supposedly he had a Stasi file himself. Uh, Kind of an interesting bonus feature with the director. Lots of little tidbits like this, and he was one of the guys who spoke out against the East German government in 1989. So I have a lot of respect for this actor, even though I hated his performance in The Castle. I thought he did a really great job in this one. Shows a lot of maturity and realism. He played the East German Stasi agent perfectly. He's not only an interrogator, but he's also a spy. And so he does a lot of stuff for his boss that goes unappreciated, especially towards the end. I mean, he ends up steaming stamps during the fall of the Berlin Wall, or actually for 4 years prior to the fall of the Berlin Wall. And that was a pretty cool scene too. I'll talk about that later, but the guy's got his house bugged. One of the blacklisted writers, I guess, that he was using, he committed suicide. It was interesting. I didn't know this, but in 1977, East Germany stopped calculating the suicide rate, and at that time they had the highest suicide rate other than Hungary, and they even eliminated the word suicide. They called it self-murderer, which is kind of interesting. So the director did a lot of research on this, and so after the guy's friend dies, they decide to sneak a Der Spiegel article about suicide in East Germany. And that's when all hell breaks loose. The communist boss says, "Well, what's going on here? You better find out who did this, or you're going to be shot." So the inept, corrupt boss, who doesn't mind his own boss having an affair as an excuse to spy on his rival, he starts investigating this guy. They get a warrant to search his apartment. Can't find anything because the typewriter and the script are buried underneath the floor, quite cleverly, I might add. So his girlfriend sees that there's a typewriter and the script underneath the floor. Turns out that she's got an illegal drug addiction. She's buying illegal drugs from a doctor. And so the communist boss says, "Why can't you idiots find out this stuff? Why do I have to find it out for you?" So they bust her, they throw her in jail, and then this Mr. Stasi man starts interrogating her. But he was the one who let the script go to West Germany, because when he was listening to them, he became more cultured. He started reading more books. He started empathizing with the guy, and he even got a prostitute for himself, which is kind of bizarre. So it seems like he really enjoyed his work, in the sense that he had an epiphany that there was more to life than just being a total rabid Stasi agent following the terrible dictates of the corrupt communist boss. Be careful what you wish for, I guess, is the moral of the story. So he's interrogating her. He says, where is his typewriter, his script? She says it's underneath the floorboard. So they check underneath the floorboard, and there's nothing. He's moved it. And meanwhile, his girlfriend is kind of miffed by the fact that there are all these Stasi agents searching her apartment and implicating her as an informant. Because as soon as she told the truth about her boyfriend, she got released from jail, and she got a free pack of cigarettes, which apparently is a hot commodity in East Germany at that time, which is not surprising. So so she's kind of miffed about the fact that they're already moving in for the hunt on this guy, or this guy's incriminating evidence. At least the East Germans, they try to dig up stuff before they imprison the guy. So it's not a total, complete police state sham that you'd expect from a communist government. But the girl, she just runs out in the street in a daze. Then she gets smacked by a truck. Looks like a really crappy East German truck. And she dies. So they close the case. The Stasi policeman gets demoted to stamp steamer for the next 4 years. And when the Berlin Wall falls, his coworker tells him, and they all just get up and leave their job. He's like a mailman for another 4 years. And then the director starts digging up his Stasi file, starts learning all about this guy who saved his life from what could have been years of Stasi prison. And saved his girlfriend from that corrupt communist boss, because she kept wanting to go to the communist boss out of fear of the system, and she kept coming back to the other guy. That's why the communist boss got all pissed off, and he said, "Show me some results." And it was interesting too, because he knew that she had the drug addiction. I don't know how he came about to know that, but it must have been pretty obvious with all those times she was popping those pills. So that's pretty much the movie. I probably missed a lot of stuff. I mean, there were so many different twists and turns to this movie. It just really kept me on the edge of my seat. It's 2 hours 6 minutes of this stuff, so it never lets up. I mean, it could have been a 4 hour movie, but director did a great job. The actors did a great job. The cinematography is great. I just can't say enough good things about this movie. It's just unbelievable. So definitely check this one out. Highly recommended. Laters.